You and I take modern technology for granted. I mean, when you talk about city utilities, frankly, we never talk about it. We just go to the bathroom, we go to the kitchen, we go outside the house, you find a faucet, turn it on, you get running water. You call it modern day utility technology. You know, in the ancient world, they had to have running water. Maybe not running water, but they had to have fresh water. We're at Caesarea, and the technology we're going to see here is really pretty special. Now, Caesarea was built on the coastline of the Mediterranean. Obviously, you can't drink ocean water, and so we've got to bring in fresh water. Herod the Great built this city right before Jesus was born. And to get the fresh water he needed for his brand new city, he went inland to the Carmel Mountains and to some other spring sources and brought the water by aqueduct. And that's what we're going to try to do. We're going to climb up the aqueduct and see what he built. So through the years, I mean, it's been 2,000 years since this was first constructed. There's been a lot of erosion over here. That's sort of good news, bad news. The bad news is it's taken away some of the aqueduct. The good news is we can get up there. I see some steps right over here. So I'm going to go over here and get on top of the aqueduct. And I think what we're going to find is some ancient utility technology. Hey, check this out. We're already in the aqueduct. I mean, as soon as you get up to the top, you can see one of the channels. There are actually two channels here, and it's very clear this was one of the channels. In a way, the erosion that has happened here has helped us see how deep these aqueducts were. A lot of water could flow toward the city of Caesarea. Now, right over here, you've got another aqueduct, but it's been covered up by the centuries with sand and plants. But I see a place right down here where it's real easy to see. This was the second channel of the aqueduct. It may have been the first one built. So I think you're not going to have any trouble seeing this. And I'm just going to sit down on the City Waterworks Department property here from 2,000 years ago. This was part of the roof of the aqueduct system. You want to keep trash out of this, you want to keep birds out of it, or anything birds would do to the water. And here is the aqueduct. And it was deep, and it was probably plastered, and it's bringing water from a long ways, more than 10 miles away, from freshwater sources. There are a couple of more aqueducts that we know about that were also on the south side of the city. So this was the city water system. Now, I didn't bring you here to talk about the history of water utility departments. Herod the Great, archaeologists know without any doubt, built this city. Took about 12 years to build it, and he completed it just before Jesus was born. And this is an amazing city. If you've ever seen the ruins here, it is absolutely a stunning work. It was his pride and joy, and he had to have water, and so this is the way he brought water to his city. Now, we know without any shadow of a doubt that Herod the Great lived, and we know all the buildings he built, and we know he built this city. And we don't have to open the Bible to know all of that. There are books written on it. And yet, when you open the Bible, Luke's Gospel, chapter 1, verse 5, it's actually the very beginning of the Jesus story. After a short introduction, the first detail Luke gives us is that Jesus was born when Herod the Great was king. Now, maybe that doesn't seem like a big deal, but once you hear some people, sometimes very famous and influential people, talking about the Bible as if it's legend or fable, and therefore we don't have to listen to the message of the Bible, you know, I want to ask them, what part of this is legend? What part of this is fable? It feels like reality to me. You know, there are all kinds of people out in historical sources outside of the Bible, events that took place outside of the Bible that are recorded outside of the Bible, and of course places. And then inside the Bible, you'll see brief references to them. The only way this could possibly happen is if the writers of the story were writing down actual history. You can't accidentally merge with all of that history. And it happens over and over again. The Bible's not legend, it's a historical record, and it tells the story of God's love for us. That's why this aqueduct is important. We're walking through the lands of the Bible trying to find new insights to the story of the Bible. I'm glad you're joining us. We're experiencing Israel right now.